Hey, welcome. Thank you for being here. We love having you here. Today is going to be a great show.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome. We got a lot going on, man. And by the way, Ignacio from Stockton won a whole package. He took our hemp survey and won himself a pack of Relief CBG seeds.
Like it's also known as the Cheetos Daddy.
Is it the Cheetos Daddy?
Yeah.
Is that how you would say that?
I
Cheetos?
guess so.
How would you say that? Ignacio, let us know.
Yeah,
Hey,
that's great.
shout out to Ignacio.
That's pretty sweet.
And,
I like
and
that.
correct our pronunciation of Cheetos Daddy. Okay, so good job. So take our surveys, be there, enable pop-ups so you can be on the chat bot. You're going to see the whole team is answering questions. Man, we've already look at all the questions coming in already.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. There's a lot of people wanting to know about our topic today, which is good. Oh, by the way, if you're here for the first time, welcome. And if you get frozen on the screen, just hit the refresh button. It doesn't bounce you out. It just refreshes and starts it up again. Take advantage of the poll questions. Ask us questions in the chat. We've got a team ready. They're answering all the questions.
Yeah.
And we love the questions.
Please, please, please ask. I mean, some of the questions we received already, I was like, stumped me already. I have no idea.
And I had them right off the top of my head.
So I was like, oh, I got to quick look that up. I have no idea.
And I have an answer for everything. Now, it's not the right answer.
Yeah.
It's just an answer.
All right. Well, I agree.
Of course you agree. Invite your friends. There will be a replay. No holds barred. Ask any questions. And we do have the live tours. We've got our content is growing daily.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
is.
gosh.
Well, I've been working on a lot of videos lately.
Have you?
Yeah, and let me see
Are
here.
they videos we can share?
Yeah, they're shareable by our bot. They're bot shareable ones.
Bot shareable.
Yeah. So
Okay, so our bot,
Yeah.
we still have to name the bot.
I can't do that at this moment. It's impossible. I don't know.
Okay, if there's any thoughts on the name for our bot, who is really cool, by the way, and you can and it's full. It's like machine learning AI,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so it'll interface with you. You can talk to them and
Yeah.
figure out. It'll
We
answer
kind
your
of wonder
question.
what it says. We
Yeah.
don't really know what it says.
We do go through it, and sometimes it's like, where did that answer come from?
I just enabled like a random quote or joke thing on there. So
Oh, cool.
check that out. Yeah.
All right, knock
Yeah.
knock. Oh, maybe not knock knock jokes.
Well, knock knock jokes would be actually. I wonder if you could do that. That would be pretty cool.
Ah,
Who wouldn't answer a knock knock joke?
knock knock.
Who's there?
Old lady.
Old lady who?
I didn't know you could hodl.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Boy, that's, we have fun at least.
We have a hard time.
And we appreciate your
focusing.
patience with us because
All right.
we have fun at least.
all good.
Okay, so thank you for being here today.
Yes.
Today. We are oh, by the way, jam sessions are filling up. Guides, calculators, library, go there, you know the drill. There's a lot on our site, extractlab.com. Today, we're talking about the top 5 reasons
Yeah,
to be EUGMP compliant,
that's right.
right?
Right.
That's what you want to do. So this is going to be covering topics with the European Medicines Agency. Oh, by the way, GMP is good manufacturing practices.
Right.
EU is European Union.
Right.
Right? So Europe. There's a lot, and those are the things that come in ancillary would be novel foods, risk assessment. There's a couple of things that you'll see out there is good automated manufacturing practices, which are there,
Right.
Or GAMP 5, sometimes they call it. We do full GMP training. One of the things that Dr. John made me do when I got here was go through GMP certification.
Yeah, Part 111.
Everybody does that.
Absolutely.
So that's other things. IQ, OQ, we're
Oku. IQ, OQ, PQ.
See, we're multilingual here.
Oh, yeah. We got
IQ, OQ.
Hey, you want acronyms? We got acronyms.
Oh my God, we do have anachronisms.
And acronyms too. We got those too.
We got them all covered. So some of the things that we're going to cover today have operational qualification, all of these things. So please bear with us, ask the questions. This is vital because we're getting this asked of us every day. How do I get EU GMP? Where
Right.
are we? And so I think we should just jump in.
Right,
Top
let's do
5
it.
reasons.
Let's
for
do it.
EU
So
GMP.
overview of EU GMP. Let's take a look at that. Start off with that slide. I have.
That's
I
a
have,
good slide.
I
That's a very informative slide.
yes.
Wow.
Yes. Don't you look? Don't you like how the nice? Look at that orange line. It looks so good.
Is that orange?
Okay,
I'm
here we go.
colorblind.
5 reasons to be EU GMP. Number one, we're going to go over some of the status of both hemp and cannabis because a lot of the reasons you might do EU GMP has a lot to do with what the status is of the current regulation. EU import certification and inspection. I'm going to be talking a little bit about that. And then EU GMP overview again.
It would be very difficult to read this slide 5 times really fast.
Why don't you try it?
5 reasons to be EU GMP and climate. EU hemp and cannabis status. EU import certification. EU GMP overview. Ha!
One time. You got to do it 5 times.
Oh, well, they don't want to say it 5 times.
Okay, so here's the top 5.
I was worried about doing it once.
Does anybody have any kind of doubt what the number one thing is? Obviously, it's money.
It is money.
Money.
Yeah, but it should be $4 signs and not 3.
Oh, okay. Access to the market with a population of 500 million. Okay, population is 500 million. So if you got maybe 5 to 10% of the population that would
500 million is a lot of people.
Yeah, imbibe in cannabis, and so there's a big market there. And of course, a lot of people are salivating over obtaining that market. There are market forces that right now, as we speak, positioning themselves to have monopolistic tendencies within that market.
Really?
And usually what they do is they partner with regulatory bodies, just like the pharmaceutical companies normally do, and they create very large barriers to entry.
Yes.
Okay, so what we're talking about here with EU GMP is essentially a large barrier to entry, mostly because the EU does not consider cannabis considers it to be a narcotic or a more like the US had it has it as a current Schedule 1,
Yep.
i.e. no medical benefit. That's the same thing with the EU for cannabis. Now, hemp is a little bit different, but I'll kind of go in. It depends on which country you're talking about.
Okay.
So a lot of people want to also take advantage of the growing EU market. In other words, it's going to grow. It's starting out pretty small, so it's I would say it's somewhere right around where the U.S. was maybe 10 or 15 years ago. So you know that there's going to be this
huge upswing.
Huge upswing. People want to get involved in that, and so there's a lot of people making a lot of investments into EU GMP certifications. Increasing the professionalism of your own company by implementing a pharmaceutical quality system. Now, I would have to say here, before I get into number 3, this really works for countries where it's legal to export THC. And it also would work for countries where it's legal to export CBD or hemp products. So if you're in Canada, of course, you have an import-export market for both of those items. If you're in the U.S., obviously you can't export cannabis because that's a federally regulated thing. So, but you can export hemp, of course. So that's something you just need to think about. Number 3, increase the professionalism. That's if you are able as a company in hemp or cannabis to really create a pharmaceutical quality system, you have made a lot of investment in money and dollars and infrastructure and people, and it really does elevate the level of professionalism that you're operating at. No question about it.
Sure.
The biggest advantage, however, is differentiation. You brought this up when we were discussing it.
Wow.
You did.
Wow.
And it does make it makes a big difference.
I must have had a good idea.
If you have all of
Done for the
these EU GMP specifications, and you can say, "Hey, we're EU GMP certified," that just does give you a whole lot of gravitas.
It does.
Yeah.
Good word,
Ooh,
gravitas. I like that. And that's like having that check mark that you're ISO certified.
Yeah, something like that.
And
yeah.
I mean, that's good. You need EU GMP is good.
Right.
And having that as a checkoff, huge differentiator.
Just so you know, though, EU GMP equals pharmaceutical quality system. So
Right.
you're basically, you are complying with the same rules that Big Pharma complies with. Like, for example, like Bayer Eli Lilly or Pfizer or any of those other big companies. So is the view worth
It's a big hurdle.
Is the view worth the climb? You have to answer that question for yourself. Number 5, consumer confidence in a quality product. A lot of people they make drugs, they produce drugs, they put them out on the market, and they're well understood from the standpoint of adverse events. They're understood from the standpoint of side effects and things like that. And then
Lots of
also
research.
the quality, usually the consistency of the products that are put out are they're very, very consistent. Okay. And that goes for natural products as well, even though those will have natural variability to them, still yet. Like if you have ginkgo biloba, you're going to, it's going to vary in potency, purity, identity from the
Korean
naturals.
red ginseng.
Or chaga mushroom.
I love chaga.
Yeah?
Chaga.
All
Uga
right.
chaga. Uga chaga.
All right. So those are the top 5 reasons. I mean, it is going to take your company and the way it functions, the way it manufactures from kind of a lower level to a much higher level. No question about it. So it's going to make you think about risk and risk assessments. We're going to kind of go into.
Are you going to talk about the iterations leading up to EUGMP?
Yeah, crawl, walk, run. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. We should talk about that. It's not in here, but we should talk about that because no one's going to start off with that.
No.
Hitting that. Usually they start off with something small. Do ISO first. That would be my recommendation.
Or even just GMP.
Or GMP, but ISO you'll get. If you do like ISO 22000, that has what they call a HACCP, which is hazardous control point, analysis and controls. Okay, that portion of ISO, you'll get certified to that by a third party, and it's just it makes you, really operate at that level. With GMP in the U.S., you're not like ordering up a inspection.
Correct.
Right.
But it's good to get
you
in
kind of need
mode.
that. You actually
good
need
manufacturing practices, GMP.
Right.
And so getting the ISO, I agree with you that GMP is a good starting point. So you're focused on good manufacturing practices, and they're different in domestically versus Canada versus other countries, because then you've got GMP, GPP, biopharma, GMP, and pharma GMP.
In the U.S., there are different parts. There's 21 CFR part, 110, 111, 112. Sure. Okay, and so each of those different parts have a different, a different focus. Okay, we're part 111 here. We do part 111, which is the nutraceutical, stuff. But there's also cosmetics. There's pharmaceutical, right? There's food. There's food safety. There's a bunch of different. But there's a regulations.
There's a huge push for this big hurdle that you have to overcome, which is EU GMP compliance.
Right.
So if you're exporting, you need this. So pay attention, because this is a big market. It's trying to be controlled by the big guys.
Yep.
And if you get this now, some of that will be grandfathered, but you have to keep moving. That's why the idea of going through the ISO process is huge, because that puts you in that audit mode, and that's what you're going to need when you do
that's why I
GMP.
say ISO 22000 is probably the good place to start.
There you go.
Because that'll get you thinking about it'll get you a CAPA system, which is a control recall system. It'll get you thinking about how to run down problems that occur. Looking at out of specifications results is going to put in place a quality assurance and a robust quality assurance and quality control plan. A lot of people, when they think about GMP, they usually think about like manufacturing, right?
Yes.
But really, it's way more than that. It's kind of an all-encompassing. It starts with your personnel, starts with your org chart. Making sure that you have people with the right training in the right places to actually implement what's required by the regulations.
Yeah, and that's ISO as well. So you've got to do that. And we've talked in other podcasts where all of these tools that are available to you, including our IGW lab, that allows you to automate some of these practices and quality assurances and things, so that you can train, you can do everything with an integrated company.
So the IGW, what it helps you do really is centralize and make the data for the for an audit or something like that, really easy because you're just running reports and you're showing, okay, hey, here everything is in this.
But it has to be
manufacturing
consistent.
execution
That's
system.
the key. And even when we're talking about EUGMP, the last item you had there is that your clients have a confidence in doing business with you because you've been compliant to these specifications.
Right.
Yeah.
So one thing that's interesting with the EU is that cannabis and CBD are really regulated as a narcotic. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's kind of weird, even and it's a little bit contradictory when it comes to CBD because in a lot of countries within the EU, CBD is either a novel food like it is in Great Britain for isolate only. And I'll just kind of go over some of those things, but this slide right here just shows that this is the Health Product Regulatory Authority, and you can see in here that this is when they have their regulations that they publish for import. They're really talking about here CBD as a part of a controlled drug. You can see the word up here, controlled drug, and then you have the word CBD down here, right? Yep. So you can see that there's significant departure between the members of the European Union countries, their local bodies, and the EU superstructure, which is making the regulation, which makes it kind of confusing from a regulatory environment.
And I'm easily confused.
Yeah, well, it also is, it also, for those who, say, okay, look, where's this going to go? And they have the foresight to look at the market, and they're saying, okay, well, probably the regulatory bodies are going to win, and I might as well get in, pay the piper right now. Yep. So a lot of people are making that calculation. So, so that's why many companies opt for a GMP registration as a pharmaceutical. And a lot of people ask, okay, so what are they actually registering for? And if you look at the GMP certificates, you can go on to the European Medicines Agency, and they have a database there. In the database, you can look up anybody's certificate.
Really?
So if you type in just like Canada, and you look at all the certificates from Canada, you can see all of the regulations that they are complying with, that they have been inspected to, and what they're really actually even selling. So like, for example, one of the companies that's in Canada that has a certificate is only selling flour, and they're only selling flour in Germany. Okay, other types of certificates might also have in it manufacturing operations for active substances and like oils and extracts and things like that. So you can see most of the products that they are drawing the regulations down to are non-sterile products, liquids for internal use, and then they have this other category, which is cannabis extracts, and then packaging. So obviously you have the non-sterile products, plus you have the packaging, including liquids. And then, so most of the companies that are...
I'm looking at this and I'm going, that's terrifying when you've got a 1.5.1.17.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Like, what?
What about 1.2.1.7?
I know.
Or 1.3.1, whatever. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 1.7. That's tough. Other non-sterile medicinal products, bulk packaging of dried cannabis flowers, including small quantities. Okay, so if this is kind of a compilation. A lot of people also get certified for this quality control testing. In other words, QC is a major part of GMP, any GMP program. And so a lot of people get that quality control also inspected. If I have a certificate that says, hey, I am now offering myself to be pre-inspected or inspected by an agency authority for 1 through 7, or 1.15.117, and then also 1.6, it would open it up also to the laboratory operations.
Gotcha.
Okay. And then also there's this 3, which is manufacturing operations of active substances, 3.2 and 3.2.1, which is the extraction of substance from the plant source. This stuff comes from the WHO. And also
who?
The WHO.
Who?
The WHO. So from that standpoint,
World Health Organization.
Yeah, you can get certified for that as well
Yep.
from that 3.2.1. Anybody who wants to take a look at Section 3 of the manufacturing operations from the World Health Organization, actually, it's a nice document. It has a tremendous amount of information in there, including information on solvent residuals. You should probably take a look at that.
Wow.
And go read it and weep, basically. Now, interestingly enough.
And then watch our podcast that tell you how to fix that.
Exactly. Well, these guys are going to go in and they're going to take a look at your manufacturing operations. They're going to look at the lot numbers. They're going to look at the purity of every purity, potency, identity of every ingredient that touches the product. Okay. And you're going to have to show that there's no residuals out of there, and so, some people can do that. And there's also this idea of risk associated with that. So I'll kind of go into that in a couple steps here, but just suffice it to say that in these types of environments, like the EUGMP, they're under great scrutiny. So let's just put it that way.
Cool.
So anyway, that's what people are typically getting certified to.
Wow.
They're declaring, okay, I'm importing this material, and here's what I'm declaring to the agency that I'm importing, and then they're going to come and with your application, they're going to either order a pre-inspection or you're going to get inspected at some point in time.
And so when you're looking at this, I see this subset. It's the whole manufacturing operations, the packaging, the products,
everything.
and
it's way more than that. So I'll show you.
Wow.
I'll show you some other stuff.
So
here,
it's a lot.
Before we get into that, I wanted to try to kind of go into what this regulation looks like from the hemp standpoint. So from the cannabis standpoint, in a lot of ways, it's much more clear. Okay, they think it's a narcotic. Fine, you might disagree with that. They think that it has never been used and there's no medicinal qualities to it. Okay, whatever. That's why it's a scheduled, like kind of like the, the federal government in the U.S.
Sure.
There's Controlled Substances Act, Schedule 1 equals no medical benefit, which obviously, has been pretty much proven by the scientific establishment. So the scientific establishment is contradicting the scientific establishment. And then now they're fighting. Okay. All right. So that's what's happening.
A house divided.
A house divided. So that's why it's a tale of many cities. Okay. Because what you're talking about with the EU is the EU superstructure over a large conglomeration of countries that are independent, but not really independent, and they have their own regulatory bodies. Some of them are better than others, and some of them are more free than others. Some of them have much more regulation, but they have higher populations, maybe more lucrative markets, for example. So what I have here is just a listing of kind of I'm calling each country like a different city, and just look at the differences between the different locations. So, from the EU standpoint, it claims that hemp CBD has not been used in human consumption prior to May 15th, 1997. That's because they are declaring it a novel food, by some of the regulations. So it wasn't used prior, widely used prior to 1997. I think that the scientific establishment has pretty much agreed that that is the case, that it wasn't, hemp was not used in a medicinal way prior to 1997.
So when I think of
it's
a novel,
really hard to believe, but okay, I'm just saying, I'll just, it's science, so it has got to be right?
And what I think of as novel food would be like an ice cream sundae.
No, that's not what this is.
Because that's novel foods, right? Isn't that the brand? It's like a drumstick.
I think the novel food is basically just a
Eskimo
way
pie.
to put normal stuff through a big taxing situation. So you have
Oh,
a way
sweet.
to tax it. You have a way to
So
regulate it.
there we
So
go.
it's a lot like
a tale of many cities. It's the best
exactly.
of times.
There
It's the
we go.
worst of times.
That's right. That's what we're talking about
But
here.
there's more.
Well,
Tis a far, far better place that I go than I have ever been, right?
Yes.
So we've got the beginning and the end.
I haven't read that in a long time. Tale of Two Cities. Okay. CBD outlawed by Germany in food supplements in 2019, unless they were authorized as a medicinal product or a novel food. Okay. So they've actually sent in their authorities to seize people's CBD.
Wow.
In some cases, Many people just relabeled the products, and the label relabeled them as aromatic products instead and put them back out there. So there's a lot of, because if you can't have hemp or
shell
whatever.
game.
Yeah, and I think, it could have been like they were violating regulatory labeling requirements, right?
Yeah.
So we have those. Italy has proposed increasing the THC levels for hemp to 0.3. Right now, they're currently at 0.2%.
Right.
If you're in Italy. And allow biomass to be sold, smokable hemp. Okay, hemp products and food is still not allowed. You can't have any CBD for pets, and CBD for animal feed is also not allowed. So,
Wow.
skipping down, Spain considers CBD to be a novel food. So here we have the full gambit, just in the couple bullet points there. You have the full gambit of here. Germany thinks that it's a complete pharmaceutical. It's going to be dominated by pharmaceutical companies or companies who pay the piper to get EU GMP. Spain is looking at it as a novel food item, and I'll go through what's required to really, show. It's a lot of work to show that it's a novel food. You might want to join the Hemp Association in Europe, because I think that they are putting in a novel food application. Anybody who signs in on that, I think they're trying to do some sort of conglomerate.
Grandfathered in.
Like
So
yeah.
in Germany up there, it says that it is outlawed unless they were authorized as a medicinal product or novel food.
Medicinal product is a pharmaceutical.
Right.
A novel food is the novel food item. Yeah.
And now, is that novel food in Germany the same definition of a novel food in Spain?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
Sorry.
So there were people who were selling it with neither of those.
Oh.
And then that was not allowed.
Stupid. Sorry.
Sweden says CBDs are narcotic. I don't think it's that cut and dry, but it's very similar to Germany. I don't think that what that means is I don't think that they accept the novel food. I might actually be not complete on that, but I know that they're the summary of the regulation that I read. That's kind of my cliff note from it. Okay, Poland is regulating it like a food with a VAT. Those guys are smart. I had like, okay, you can do whatever you want, just give us a lot of money. Okay, and 5% VAT is not so bad. I mean, if you look at the very bottom there, Belgium says it's okay to smoke.
More literary. And God bless us, everyone.
And God bless us all, everyone. Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. In Belgium, you see at the very bottom, skipping to the bottom, it's okay to smoke, even hemp. Okay, as long as the 21% VAT was added. That's pretty awesome.
Go Belgium.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so now it starts to get
and that's
into
good
kind of
beer too in Belgium. Belgian beer is good.
Yeah, in Switzerland, 1% THC is okay.
Well,
So
1%.
1%.
Is that a 0.1% or
No.
is that a 0.1%?
Right, but the Netherlands, look at here, it's 0.05%. So you got 0.2%, you got 0.05%, and you got 1%. Which is it?
We Swedes
I
are just
don't know.
kind of weird.
I have no idea. The Netherlands.
Scandinavians.
This is really funny.
THC.
I hope that this is characterized right, because as I was reading this, it was almost like it was weird. So THC otherwise is a narcotic. Okay, so CBD isolate is illegal, but it can be exported. So you can't.
So
it's illegal, but you can export
pollute
it.
other people's countries,
Right.
but not internal.
Right.
That's right.
Yes. So
Okay.
in the UK, isolate's allowed, and that's also under the novel
Go
food.
Netherlands.
Yeah.
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 You
you got to do
then
something with those windmills.
you do.
Yes. Sorry.
Well, you gotta feed those tulips. They all gotta be happy. Okay.
Tulips is big business. It's bad business
We wondered
too.
why Don Quixote was.
Oh. To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe.
Okay, we're moving on. Okay, isolate UK. Isolate is
Total
allowed.
poll question. How many of you want karaoke night right after the scotch and bourbon tasting?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Tell us.
Tell us. In Bulgaria, CBD is allowed in the food, and then Belgium it's the smoke. So the point here is pretty obvious, is that I think they're just in the process of trying to figure out what the regulations are. The countries are trying to put in their own regulations, and then the
I like your
superstructures,
comments
just like
about
the U.S.
UK. That's
Yeah.
funny.
Oh yeah, THC is evil. I just got tired of reading it, and I didn't want to be. So
There's
anyway,
even
here's
an
the
LOL.
here's the novel food application requirements.
Okay. Eskimo pies. Let's
Whoa.
go.
And let me see here. Required data for novel food application, full toxicology assessment. And you can see that
I'm
you know,
really getting hungry for a dilly bar.
a CBD deal bar.
Just any dilly bar
Oh, yeah.
at this moment.
Yeah, that would be good.
Sorry. All this talk of novel food. Sorry. Go on.
Uh,
I didn't mean to
stability
interrupt.
assessment, product manufacturing data for a minimum of 5 batches. So there's a lot of work there to do.
And that's how long it takes to get that
Right.
reporting.
Right.
That's
And
how much they want.
toxicology studies. You know, a lot of these things have been already, you know, they've been published on, and they have been, you know, so the data is available. The question is, do you have to have that data as a first party assessment? I think you do. It has to be your data.
So it's not
that goes in
Oregon.
No.
It's not
there.
self-certifying.
It's not self-certifying. No.
Dang it. Dang it.
Shoot.
What is genotoxicology? Any ideas? Because I have no idea.
Oh, it says Ames testing. Oh, that must be that's a genetic test. I
It's
don't
from
know exactly
Iowa.
what it is.
Ames testing.
No.
No?
No. I don't remember what the Ames test is. I think
Didn't they build the first computer ever?
It's a genetics test.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Let me see here, and then detailed information on typical CBD exposure and usage. So a lot of that stuff is, you know, available. Like the World Health Organization has a pretty good compendium of data. You know, toxicology data.
I refrained from saying
usage
who.
data. Yes, the WHO.
Who?
And then the risk assessment, they also have a risk assessment and risk mitigation. So anyway, this is what, if you wanted to do that, you know, actually put in an application, this is what you'd be required to do. In this case, that's why it makes sense to have like a consortium do it. And I don't know, you know, because it's basically, it's the same for most all the foods. I guess if you have a CBD gummy bear, though, it could possibly be different than, say, a CBD tincture. So you may have to do like multiple different products for a novel food. I think that's how that works. But there's a lot of work actually to get.
And this is not an iterative process, so you don't start at the bottom of the 2 or 3 week items and build up, and then by the time you get to the 8 or 9 months, you've got it all. This is not that. I mean, you really have to start big, and then you have these other tag-on things.
So it's gonna cost you a lot of money, yeah.
So okay, yeehaw.
Yeah, and some people have gotten through this already, and so you know they've scraped data out from the you know, from the literature, and they put it together. And you can hire people to help you through this, and you definitely need to do that because it's a lot of work. Okay. Here's some recent news, I guess. We have the Czech Republic is basically this company here has a valid designation, so they're going to have to go now into risk assessment. So there's a whole bunch of companies that are going forward trying to get this novel food designation, and for good reason, right?
Yeah,
so,
you bet.
So now I'm going to talk a little bit about regulations for EUGMP. Suppose you decide that you're going to bite the bullet and you want to go ahead.
Let's go. I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I got my big checkbook.
Okay.
I'm going to go do it. So these are the main directives that you need to be looking at. The 2003-94 EC. There's active substances. This Article 47 really is about, hey, European Medicines Agency, you have to provide detailed guidelines to people who are going to comply with this 2003-94 EC. This is a very similar, the Directive 203, it would be like in the U.S., it would be 21 Code of Federal Regulations part something.
Yep.
So it's a similar set. And then these right here, the Q7 and the Q9, are really the two guidelines that I just mentioned. Okay, so those are published by the ICH, and there's also this EU GMP guide part 1, 2, and 3. They're really good. So if you are looking at getting a step-by-step, okay, here's the requirement 1, requirement 2, requirement 3 for each one of the categories that are in GMP and risk assessment, your EU GMP guides are really great. Your Q7 and Q9 are going to be really great. You got to read them. You got to download them. You got to start looking at them. And then you could ask yourself, is the view worth the climb? You know,
is this something we can put together as a downloadable form with links?
Yeah, we could put links in there. No problem. In fact, I have
a list with links.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, this will be on there. The links, we could put some links together, maybe just in a page.
Yeah.
And we could put links to, because they're all
April,
public.
Can you make a note? to do
Yeah,
that.
they're
That
all
would be
public,
awesome.
right? I
Yeah,
mean,
well, they
so,
are, but
yeah.
but for you guys who are watching this, there's obviously an interest, and I think it would be helpful just to have this as a with the links so that we can put it on our site and have it
Right.
easily accessible.
Right. Yeah, no problem. So then also, no surprise here, depending on where you get your certificate, there's also the country in which your company is located. There's going to be a country-based regulation as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of the certificates that I have seen are based in Germany. And so there's inevitably you see this citation, section 72A of 1, sentence 1, number, paragraph 2 of the AMG. Okay. So that's something that each country appears to have its own CBD hemp regulations. So there are some good articles that try to, basically summarize it all, but they're changing quite a bit. So stuff that you might have seen, back in 2018 or whatever, it's probably not the same as it is today. So you probably need to think about that. And then there's this novel food regulation that you need to know about if you're going to do CBD. And then there's implementing regulations for third party or third country. We would be a third country by importing into the EU.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So those are the regulations. And within each of these regulations, it kind of is just like a whole bunch of other regulations that it feeds into, right? So it makes sense, right? So one regulation will refer to 100 other regulations. So just think about that.
And it's hard to refer to us as a third country in an election year.
Yes. But that's what they call us. We're a third country. We get, if that's what they call us, we got to wear it.
That's right.
We got to wear it.
It's kind of like a third party, but we're a third country. Right?
Yep, that's right. So there's that.
Interesting.
Okay, so suppose you wanted to
like
go
to fill up these slides, don't
and
you?
get certification, right?
Yes.
So,
oh boy.
Okay, so there's a couple different ways to do that. There's this HPRA, which is the Health Products Regulatory Authority. Okay, so once you put in an application, you can actually get to the point and do the right, make the right check marks that they will order a pre-approval inspection for you, which is pretty sweet, but you have to have all of the information. In the U.S., if you're from a U.S. company, they recognize the FDA, but you have to have the FDA Establishment Identifier Number. That's the FEI number.
Wow.
That has to go on that, meaning you have already been inspected by the FDA and you get clear sailing. It's a paperwork exercise, but you still have to have that. So start with, for those of you who are not not U.S. FDA certified yet under a particular part, you should probably do that first. So I do ISO, then I do FEA GMP, and then I do EU GMP. So that would be my crawl, walk, run strategy. For
And that's
a lot
good.
of
This
people.
reminds me of the beanstalk, climbing the beanstalk.
Yes.
Because you're
You
climbing
mean
it.
Jack?
Jack and.
Okay.
Of climbing the
You mean
beanstalk.
and at the top he finds the giant?
Well, the reason I say that is because we've got all these acronyms. It's like FI, FDA,
FDA,
Pro,
FDA,
PRA, FUM.
EUGMP.
This is your path to EUGMP certification.
Yeah, I know. See, I told you we had acronyms.
Yes, and I bring up the anachronisms.
Okay.
Go on.
So products are produced with a quality required for intended use. So that's really what they're after, right?
Yep.
They want to make sure that the products are what they say they are, that they're pure according to the quality requirements that you have established for that, and in accordance with your risk assessment, and that you're manufacturing them in accordance with GMP principles. Applies to importers, also distributors, and also wholesalers. So they have to provide like a recall system and things like that, and manufacturers of human medicinal products. So the word human medicinal products, those three words, okay, those are the words that you saw in the previous slide.
Yeah.
That's human medicinal products. That's the
That's
the EU
that's what you're
GMP.
going.
Yeah, you're talking about
Human
drugs. here.
medicinal
Specific
products.
applicability to cannabis, and just keeping in mind that hemp and CBD are distinct from cannabis in the U.S., but are still considered controlled substances in EU and Canada.
Yes.
I mean, in 2018, 2019, we had the Farm Hemp Bill,
Yep.
which descheduled CBD.
Wow. Yep.
It was groundbreaking, crazy.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, it descheduled THC to 0.3%.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's amazing. That really took case law and all kinds of things, and just many years of the drug wars and all of that, and it really kind of just like, okay, they descheduled it.
Yeah, okay.
Wow, hemp.
Okay.
I mean, it's groundbreaking.
That is.
I mean, yeah,
That's good.
It's like like prohibition ending. Essentially.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Hey, did you know that there were more, when you do the research, there were more people ill during Prohibition than any other time in the United States?
They were probably getting ill from the moonshine.
Well, okay, just
Have you ever tasted moonshine?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It's not good, okay?
but yeah, that's bad. But what happened is the reason that research comes up is because they had more prescriptions written during Prohibition than any other time in the United States history.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the certificates, if you do the tours, were for bourbon.
Oh, really?
The prescriptions were for bourbon,
All right.
medicinal bourbon.
Well, I think that, makes sense. Like if you are addicted to like tobacco, you have a patch, right?
Yeah.
So do they have like a bourbon patch?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Some people get addicted to bourbon, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
Not me.
I prefer bourbon.
Well, I haven't had a drink since breakfast, so I don't have a problem.
What?
Okay. Hemp and CBD are distinct
I'm
from
ahead of you.
cannabis. Okay. Still considered a controlled substance in the EU and in Canada. The hemp laws are not liberalized in Canada and in the EU the way they are.
Do you know
in the
most
US.
people think we drink before the show?
Do they really? Did they say that to you? Oh, jeez. No, this is actually how we are.
Go Bowden.
Okay.
Go Jeff.
HPRA has received many applications for hemp growing, and they noted that in their 2019 report, which is that's the Health Products Regulatory Authority. They are located in Ireland, in Dublin.
Really?
Yeah.
Somehow, if you switched the letters, it would be HARP, and that makes more sense to be from Ireland.
Right. That was actually really good. I like that. Okay, so that's the certification part of it. It's a complicated process. You're going to need help.
So it'll take like a week.
Yeah. Just go in, start reading, and you're going to be like, oh man, I need to get some help. So if you do get some help,
It won't take a week.
They're going to give you okay, they're first of all going to look at, are you even close to being ready? Okay. And like I say, the crawl, walk, run strategy here totally is, ISO, GMP, US FDA, and then EU GMP. So EU GMP post-certification inspection and coordination. That is, now that you have your certification, now that you have your wonderful certificate.
All I'm thinking of is getting a root canal and an enema at the same time.
That's what that is. Yes.
Okay, sorry.
That's exactly what that is.
I apologize for that imagery, but that's all I could think of, and I couldn't contain myself.
No, I think you nailed it right on the head. So the National Competent Authority, okay, and that's coordinated by the EMA, is going to EC you into non-compliance. And then they're going to revoke your GMDP certificate in their database. So
I think we need to start drinking. If you're thinking about this, you can join us. Oh my gosh.
So, okay, yeah, the inspection it basically follows a regulation that's ART 111.4 directive. That's the directive that you need to be compliant with. And usually the National Competent Authority will do that. And then the EMA will kind of coordinate everything. Now,
the European Medicines Agency.
That's correct, yeah. Now, I had read on the HPRA, the agency, that I just talked about in
HAPRA.
Ireland,
HAPRA.
the HARPA organization. I think that they do inspections too. So, and because it says in there that they do inspections, but for pharmaceuticals, it appears to me, given the regulation, that they're only looking at those inspections in Ireland.
Oh.
Otherwise, it is conducted by the national competent authority in the country that you are in.
And earlier you talked about the German Medicines Agency.
Right, so that
And
would
so-
be the German people coming in.
Which would take
Yes.
priority in Germany,
Right,
depending on if you're a federalist
right,
or a nationalist,
yes.
right?
Well, yeah, I think that if your company was incorporated in Germany
Then it would be
as
the
a
German Medicines.
GmbH, right?
Right.
Okay.
Good.
Johnny T. GmbH, you think that would?
Yes.
All right.
GMDP.
Yeah, that
Good
is.
manufacturing data practices. Is that what that's?
Yeah, that's the. I don't know what the GMDP is. I don't know what the DP is.
It's got to
But
be
it is.
data.
Just type in GMDP database, and you can go in there and you can look at everybody who's certificatized.
I was all excited. I
you-
thought I might have gotten a guess right.
Yeah. So,
Totally shut down.
well, it happens.
It very regularly. Like,
Okay.
like I said, what
gotta
is
move on here.
GAMP? Oh, GAMP is good automated manufacturing practices.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
really.
Yeah, there's different
Oh
parts.
my
of that.
gosh.
So this is the basic requirements for medicinal products.
Are we
gotta
covering
get
all
through
of
this,
these
otherwise-
today? Go.
People sleeping yet? Okay, I'm not sure if you guys are sleeping yet. If you are, I'm very, very sorry. Yeah, we gotta.
I am
spike it up.
jazzed.
Oh
Let's
yeah.
go. Because we got 9
EUGMP.
chapters to go.
Oh yeah.
9 chapters to go. Let's get to it.
Okay, here we go. You know what? This is a German death metal band. Oh yeah. How very appropriate.
Yes.
Okay. Basic requirements for medicinal products.
Basic requirements. 9 chapters. Of
Pharmaceutical quality system. That's
Yep.
the number one. I'm not going to go over all the rest of these. But just suffice it to say that these are the
personnel,
things that
premise,
you
and
need
equipment,
to,
documentation,
you need to be
production,
thinking
quality
about.
control, outsourced activities.
Okay, what is a pharmaceutical quality system? A lot of people ask that. Really, it involves GMP, which is the good manufacturing practices, quality control, a review of those quality controls and product quality, and then risk management. You have to have all of these, and it ensures that products are produced with the quality required. And it is, a lot of people are like, oh, well, I don't want to include in my GMP or my quality system design and development and all that. No, it's actually it's required that you have that.
You
in there.
have to do that. And
You have to
that's
have that.
why when we build equipment for people who need specifications for GMP or EU GMP or beyond or GPP,
Right.
we need user required specifications or
Right.
URSs.
Exactly.
Because we don't know which country you're referring to or you're exporting to, because that's
Right.
going to dictate what you need,
Exactly.
right?
Right. That's it. So user requirement specification is basically taking all of the regulations that are in the country, putting them all in a spreadsheet and saying, hey, you have to comply with this regulation.
And when you go to quality control, is that when we're talking about IQ, OQ?
Yeah, no, quality control is usually, I have a product and I need to make sure that it meets specifications.
Got it. Okay.
And so I'm measuring the product versus those specifications.
Gotcha.
And then quality assurance says, yes, you made it, or no, you did not.
Check or non-check?
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to move on here.
Go.
Key elements to GMPs. Again, you have audit, people, plant,
Yay.
and equipment. Shelf life and distribution controls. Quality control. CAPA, which is basically your deviations, or OOS, out of specifications, results, defects, investigated root cause. These are things that you have to have. A recall system, a complaint system, a traceability system, qualification validation system, and SOPs and processes to do that. Change approval process, documentation of all kinds throughout the whole entire, everything's got to be documented, and continuous improvement. So these are the key elements. And then just imagine in your mind's eye like 100 points under each one of those bullets.
Yeah, the root canal audit is really, and you've got to get through.
I had to have a table as I was kind of, so I'm not going to go over this. Obviously, it's kind of an eye chart, okay, but Again,
This is brilliant.
yeah, personnel training, okay, job descriptions, org chart, facilities.
Brilliant, except for the misspellings.
Oh, that's okay. Look at this. Avoid cross-contamination. I like that.
I forgot the O in descriptions.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
nice,
Isn't
though.
that great? Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, just kind of a summary
Of
you know,
what we
kind of
talked
put that
about.
in.
That would be really good. chart.
Other thing is, what is a qualified person?
Hi.
Oh, wow.
It's not for me.
That's my
I didn't do
telephone.
it.
I did it.
Oh,
Okay.
April, virtual high five.
All right. Good. Okay, so what is a qualified person? You have, that's basically if you're going to release a batch for import or you're going to release a batch, it must be a qualified person. It must be someone who's highly qualified. They actually have specifications. You have to.
Really?
Yeah. It's pretty great. And in fact, they're taking liability for the release.
Should I be offended by this?
No, you are not a qualified person. Nor will you ever
Exactly.
be. Okay.
That's
So imported batches
I'm
need
offended.
to be retested. What's great about qualified persons is if you have qualified persons making the regulations for other qualified persons, they write themselves in as being indispensable as qualified persons.
Yes.
It works out really well.
It does. That's like.
So that's essentially the sum total of GMP
I
regulations.
am Oregon.
Yes, that's exactly. You know what? I respect that. Okay, Oregon. Okay, we're gonna self-certify. Okay, there you go. That's good. It's just like, okay, it is whatever you say it is.
Okay.
All right, risk management. There is a
Whoa.
cool thing on risk
Oh,
management.
let's go. This is fun.
Okay, risk.
Is there cheese at the end of this?
No.
Come on.
I'm gonna
No
very
reward?
very top level. Okay.
Okay.
This is you have GMPs on one side, and you have the risk management. The risk management really assesses your whole entire organization to say, okay, well, process A is really important and critical,
Yeah.
along with piece of equipment A, and therefore I need to control it.
Okay.
Okay. And here's what I'm going to do to control it. And then, by the way, I'm going to try to put in processes so that I never have a risk of that ever going bad at all. And I'll put some sort of process in there to make sure that there's a risk. So a lot of it has to do with identifying ahead of time what could go wrong, and then preemptively coming up with things to avoid and mistake-proof your process. So IGW is kind of a nice part of that. Okay?
It really is.
Because what it does is it mistake-proofs your operation in a lot of ways by putting, it actually puts handcuffs on the way that you are manufacturing and puts it into a set process. And if they're using it, they really can't get out of it.
An IGW
And-
lab is
yeah.
really a manufacturing execution system.
Yeah, that's right.
That will integrate, and it has some elements of LIMS.
Right.
A laboratory.
Yeah, it has a laboratory information. Okay,
management
so just
system, et cetera.
imagine you have all your quality documentation
Yeah.
in one spot, along with controls and training records all in one spot, trained in all your calibrations and all your expiration dates and all that stuff, all in one spot, along with all your batch records,
Yeah.
and then all of your ingredients, excipients information going in there, along with all the lot traceable, lot numbers, and in addition to that, all of the quality control data that goes and feeds into that. If you have that in an entire system, it's not 100%. Even if you did that, you would not be EUGMP.
No.
You would.
But it gives you a structure to do
Yeah,
it.
it would be a structure. That's
And
correct.
that coupled with ERP and accounting, and all of those are good foundations to build to this. What I like about the IGW lab and the way it was designed is you can build in these processes.
Right, exactly.
And I love that.
Yeah,
So
and upload stuff. So anyway,
beyond.
this is what, if you are at the point where you are going to do any kind of quality system, you really should bite the bullet and do your risk analysis. And there are a whole bunch of tools for that. I'm not going to go over them just really, really briefly here. This is HACCP. I already mentioned that. This is FMEA, or this is
FMECA.
FMECA, FMECA.
Mika.
Yeah, this is failure mode and effects and criticality analysis. Okay.
Wow.
Fault tree analysis. These basically are finding what the root cause is of a problem. Okay. Risk ranking. Here's all your risks. You rank them from top to bottom.
I think I'm stuck in FTA.
HACCP is identifying specific points where there needs to be controls within the process and making sure that those are the right measurements are set up so that you can say, hey, this is actually it's a controlled part of it. And then FMEA along with the criticality, this C in there is basically identifying which ones are critical and making sure that you can actually measure that criticality.
Wow.
Okay, so these are all tools. They're very well known. And usually what you do is you start off with an information and material flow. I always start there anyway.
Sure.
No matter what you do, you have to have that first. Put all of your information, your cycle times in there, all of your where your inventory is, where your information is. If you can have a very good idea as to where everything, all of your information and material flow is, you can then use this document, buy this document, 60/80/12, that really talks about these tools, and it'll step you through, along with forms and everything, through the process of risk analysis.
Wow.
So it's pretty nice.
That is nice.
I'm not going to go over this. Just suffice it to say,
It's a very
that
bright
preventative
slide.
actions and process design are typically used to prevent risk. Okay, and you identify failure modes. Okay, stuff like that. So I'm going to move on here.
Whoa.
Risk ranking and filtering is another tool that we have. And that is essentially, here's all your risks, and then here's if it's relevant, here's where you are ranking them, and then here's your evaluation, and here's your explanations, and here's how you're mitigating them. Okay, so this is an exact way in which you would do a hazard risk analysis.
Wow.
So, and usually this would be maybe 20, 30 pages long.
Wow.
Okay, so for the equipment that we make, for example, we manufacture, we do a hazard risk analysis on, and we have all the risks, and we have them all identified. We have, we're looking at the different compliancy rules, and then we are saying, okay, falls under sound engineering practice, this falls under like a PED requirement, or this falls under an ASME requirement, or whatever.
This falls under exothermal reaction.
Yes, things like that, yeah.
Now, this structure and format, you mentioned the IEC 60218 number in the previous slide.
Right.
Can you find that structure in that document? List?
No, but it will tell you once you do the tools, you can then make a summary document. Yeah.
Okay.
So we make our own summary documents.
Okay.
Also, you want to have what's called a user requirement specification, okay, or a URS. That's basically writing down all the requirements for each of the items. So facilities, you'd have a requirements document for. And you'd have a risk assessment for facilities. You'd have one for personnel. You'd have a requirements document for equipment, for example. So that's where we can come in and help you with the facilities, the risk assessment on those facilities, the risk assessment with your equipment, and actual user requirement specifications for your equipment, and all of the regulations that would go into that.
Gotcha.
Like some people need like material certifications, for example. Those are something that we have. We have material certifications. So. So we can help you out with a lot of that stuff.
I like column 4. It says risk examination by, and it says me.
Is that what it says?
No, it's just an M.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Usually you categorize risks as high, medium, and low.
Oh.
So there's M is for medium.
For him, me, and
yeah, me and you.
Lou. Okay. Oh, this is a good one. I like this.
So here we come full circle. Now, here are the top reasons against EUGMP.
Why would you never in the million years want to do EUGMP?
Listen to this, okay? So is the view worth the climb, right? You always have to ask. Is there a statue in the marble? Okay, the cost barrier is high. You're going to have to crawl, walk, run your way into it. Okay, so it has to be something where you know that you have the stamina and the commitment to actually going through with the whole thing, because it's going to cost you a lot of money. Market regulations for hemp is undergoing evolution. That's the second one. In other words, it's evolving, and you don't really know what's going to. Well, it's evolving. It may devolve too into less of a regulation. So you don't really know where it's going to go on the hemp
like the
side.
Farm Bill Act.
You kind of like that.
Bang.
And then need a high functioning personnel.
Okay,
in
I'm
order to
out.
get it done.
I'm out. I am not high functioning.
Easier ways to make money.
Oh, I'm all about that.
Oh yeah.
I'm back.
Okay. Well, it is, but at the same time, the reward is quite good. On the manufacturing side, if it were up to me, I definitely would go for the EUGMP. I'm not doing any imports into Europe right now, nor do I plan to at the moment. But but if I was going to do that, and that was a part of my strategy to expand internationally, I definitely would do it. I'd bite the bullet. I'd pay the piper. I'd go get it done. because then that would allow me to really look at those other those other countries.
And there are some really good people out there who can help you get there.
Yeah.
So find out, who they are and work with them.
Right. So a lot of it has to do with, okay, you want to purchase a good, employee that has some background, like a lot of background in FDA regulatory environment. Okay.
Yep.
Go look for someone from Gilead or someone from Pfizer or someone. You can find these people. A lot of times what they do is they pop out of the pharmaceutical organizations and then they start consultancies.
Yep.
So that's a lot because people don't want to hang on to those.
I
guys
look for the
a long time.
balm of Gilead.
Yes. Okay. Well, you could do that as well if you were so desirous. Okay. So, number 5 there is enabling the idea that the cannabis hemp is a controlled drug. Okay. I just kind of bristle against it actually because I'm like, okay, well,
Really?
yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, like saying that CBD is a controlled drug or a scheduled narcotic, it just seems so ridiculous. But that's just me, whatever. I'm sure that's an unscientific statement. There's no science there, but I just don't believe that hemp is going to kill people. And I don't believe that it doesn't have any medical benefit. So that's just me. And then bowing to the pharmaceutical regulatory complex. This is basically paying the piper.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to get it. So a lot of it's similar to the cost is barriers high. There definitely is that regulatory complex, and the pharmaceutical companies, they have a great lobby. They have, basically the regulators are living inside of their facilities. They have a lot of influence over that regulatory process, and so they have a distinct systemic advantage when really doing new applications and new drugs.
So as an entrepreneurial company, when I look at that final bullet, that just means selling out.
Selling out, yes. And hoping to be one of those guys.
Yes, right.
Yes, I want to be one of those guys. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, but
they're making the dough, right?
But again,
that's great.
Is the view worth the climb?
Yeah.
I mean, I like the way you say that because you have to make the decision on whether or not it is worth that investment of time and money.
Start with ISO 22000.
And there is, right now, there is significant benefit to doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, so if you're interested in the 500 million, people in that market, it's great. So there's definitely and also the growth potential.
Yes.
So it's definitely worth the $1 million or so that you're going to put into it.
Yep. And but it's a decision.
Yeah.
It's a decision that you make. This was awesome.
All right.
I appreciate you going through this. And we covered a lot today. Thank you for your patience with us. This was really good. And I really only saw one table. There were quite some slides that were quite full.
Yeah, but one table's enough for anybody.
You're an animal. I mean, that was really good.
Yeah.
That was a good summary of what to do and what not to do for getting into EUGMP. We talked about the European Medicines Agency, GMP, good manufacturing practices, GMP training, risk analysis, novel foods.
Novel foods, yeah.
Novel dilly bars. We talked about
import, yes.
IQOQ. We talked about URS. We talked about IQOQ. We talked about GAMP and GMDP, and how to get certified and where to find people to help you get certified, and kind of the path. And we're going to have a download form with some links out there for you just to start your research because it's exhaustive. There's a lot here. Yeah. So thank you for being here. We appreciate that. And I want to let you know that we are here. We're looking forward to talking to you next week as well. But we're going to be here. The whole team's going to be here answering questions. If you've still got more questions, there's a lot of questions they're fielding. And set up CBD jam sessions. We can talk through all of those.
Right.
Will be available. Again, congratulations to Ignacio from Stockton.
Cheetos Daddy.
Cheetos Daddy, that's right. Check out our live tours, CBD jam sessions, our extraction guides, our distillation guides, the calculators, extractlab.com/calculators, mini courses. Thank you for being here. Always ask questions. We love them. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our podcasts.
Yeah.
These are also put together as a podcast. We've got lots of things. Join us on our conversations on your favorite social channels: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're everywhere. And you can register for next week at extractlab.com/set-list. So we just appreciate you going through the top 5 reasons to be EU and GMP and the top reasons against being
That sounded like, almost sounded like
EUGMP.
you did that so well. It sounded like one of those disclaimers.
Yes.
All right. all
Sorry.
right.
You all heard
Thank
my
you very
alarm
much,
to go off. So,
everybody.
hey, well done, man.
Yeah.
Good job. All right.
Take care.
Ask questions. Talk
Bye
to you
now.
soon. See you next week.
See ya.
Bye. Hot mic.
Are you stuck in your hemp or cannabis business? Are you not reaching your processing goals? Here at Extract Lab, we offer a free 20-minute CBD jam session. A CBD jam session is a conversation with an industry expert, not a sales call. A conversation where you can talk to us about whatever issues you are having right now and where you are stuck. We will help you uncover any issues you are currently having in your business, create a solution to fit your current scale, develop a future scale-up plan based on your needs, and help you make your processing goals a reality, all while getting your business plan back on track. Schedule your free 20-minute CBD jam session at 1-651-600-0036. Again, that number is 1-651-600-0036.